Peace, peace, family. I think we're live. This is Brandon B. Dixon and my co-host, Stephen Contreras.
How are you guys doing?
You tune into the Power of Ownership podcast. We're going to do the second part of the series on the 48 Laws of Power. We're going to do little short videos, maybe like 10 minutes at a time, just to kind of keep people interested and keep people tuned in. Now, this one is has a little lag on it. So I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi or what.
How can you tell?
Look how it's moving like a little bit.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Behind, but we're gonna try to work on through it real quick. Let me introduce myself for those tuning in the first time. My name is Brandon B. Dixon. I'm a published author, serial entrepreneur, mortgage broker, community activist, and a 32 degrees Scottish Rite Mason, Freemason, and author of the book Sales, the Nucleus of Any Profession, out right now, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. Go ahead and get you a copy of that right now if you want to learn how to sell and market. And I'll let Stephen go ahead and introduce himself.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Contreras here, a geologist here in Houston, Texas. Just a big fan of all the science and arts, is kind of a Renaissance man in a way. I'm a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason, New York Rite Mason, and I'm here to talk about the 48 Laws of Power.
Right. For those who first tuning in, I give you a brief synopsis of our podcast. This podcast is mainly for people, entrepreneurs, and people that want to get passive income, like ownership of properties and businesses, different things like that. But we bridge the gap between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. So it morphed to become more of the ownership of the mind, body, and soul. And then you could go ahead and own anything that you want in this physical realm. But one of my favorite books is 48 Laws of Power. You tune in the episode before, we covered law 1 through 6. We're going to go through 7 and 8 real quick for you real quick. And let's go ahead and start it out. Law 7. And for those who don't know, just Google the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It's one of the most powerful books. One to give you working tools on how to psychologically mastermind your way into getting people to, buy into your mind. Remember, I always used to say, power is getting people, moving people with your mind, and getting people to buy into your mind, and having people move into a certain direction that you want.
And everyone's playing the game, so might as well learn how to play by the rules, right?
Right. Well, like I said, let's go into it. Rule number 7, it says, get others to do the work and take credit. I'll go ahead and start it off, and then I'll let Stephen chime in. And if you looked at the episode before, I go, I'll tell a little story about when I first heard this, which is about, I want to say 2003. This is about 17 years ago. My cousin and I read it, and how I feel about it now, how I morphed to how I feel about it now. Now, back then, I was all about it. This is genius. This was
Change your life, right?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite laws back then, Law 7. Get others to do the work and take the credit. I was all about that. Trying to boss people around, trying to, become. I thought that's what an entrepreneur meant. Mm-hmm. I thought, all right, yeah, I cracked the whip, and
And that's how control is.
That's how control is. So I thought this was the greatest law ever. Since I morphed and became more enlightened, now this is one of my least favorite laws. You could delegate work. I like to delegate work, but at the same time, I understand the psyche of people now. People are always going to want to have some type of credit. Now, it's levels to credit. Mm-hmm. So I can give them credit as far as doing a great job. But as far as the credit, the overall credit, you got to take the overall credit because that's your creation. You're doing a small, minute job to help aid my creation, but it's all, my mind creation. So I kind of morphed it. I was kind of for it back then. Now I'm more tactful with it now.
Would you say like it's kind of like being a director, right? Like you delegate all the work, but in the end, your name's on that.
Right. Right. And you give people certain credits, like assistant director, PA, and all that. You get them their small credit, but in the end, whose name is going to be in the line? Like the one that mastermind the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know,
The
so,
director, yeah.
but that's the maturity that came in. I used to think of me cracking the whip and, you know, getting kind of, you know, almost diabolical at one point, you know, and that's kind of how I took it.
Yeah, it's almost scary, right?
Right.
Mean, that's what, when I first read this law, I kind of got put off by it too, because I've never thought like that. You know, I mean, it's hard for me as an individual to steal someone else's credit for their work,
Right.
you know? And so when I read it, I'm like, I struggle with this one.
Right.
It's a hard one for me to really take in. And so like what I try to do in my daily life is I do try to practice it, but I make sure to try to like delegate the work. And like if someone does most of the work, I'm going to be like, yeah, that's my name. I'm going to double check all the work. I'm going to make sure everything is perfect.
Right.
I'm going to take the credit, but I'm also going to make sure he gets the recognition too.
Right. I mean, yeah, you give him that's one of the things that people want to do. Most employees, they just want to be acknowledged.
Yeah, recognized, right?
You know, and acknowledged. That's all you got to do. There's an old cliche: a hamburger goes a long way. So for that work, I might give them an extra hamburger, $5 gift card,
3 extra vacation days,
right? Or something. That's your credit, but the overall responsibility, because I took the most risk, is my name on the building, so on and so forth. I get the overall credit, but I have, you know, just being mature, I'm going to reward you for your small part in the bigger orchestra. You played one piece in my big orchestra, you know what I mean? But it wouldn't be an orchestra without those individual pieces.
Yeah, it makes that music.
Right. So that's how I look at it now.
Yeah.
A little bit more mature.
Yeah, it is really a hard one to really grasp. Like, right. I struggle with it. Like, so when you guys are reading through the law, just take your time with this one. Really try to think about what's the positive and negative, and try to work it into your life. You don't want to be, like you said, the one with the whip. You want to be able to delegate efficiently, I guess.
Right. Well, again, it's just through maturity. Like I said, learning how people tick, learning what makes people tick. And anytime you make, even with audiences, with any type of, people don't like to feel inferior to anyone. People just want to be treated fairly and equally. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a study now. I know we're getting kind of off subject. We got to get to the second one to make it quick. There was a TED Talk done with 2 like monkeys, and they would ring a bell, and the monkeys would ring a bell, and you know, they would get grapes. Each one would get grapes. So they ring the bell, get a grape, and it was 2, you know, and they got used to it. So now they started giving one a carrot, the little, you know, the little small carrot, and give the other one a grape. And you know, the other monkey was looking at the carrot like, what the hell? Yeah. So they did it a couple of times, and then the monkey started throwing the carrots at them.
It's like, I want my grape.
They want a grape. So they just want to be, you know, even monkeys want to be treated equally. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
part of nature.
It's almost like, you know, nobody wants to, for the same amount of work, in their eyes, they don't understand, like, my plate is bigger, but the same amount of work, they want to have their just due. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, their portion,
their perceived equal share.
It's actually a good segue into the next law. Make other people come to you, use bait if necessary, right?
Right. The thing about that, again, I'll tell you what I thought then and what I thought now. I thought back then in my 20s when I first read this, is that you just wanted to be almost arrogant. I wanted to be so out of the stratosphere, make myself seem so much better than everybody else that they would have to gravitate toward me. And that's how I kind of took it. And the bait that I used was just the image that I created of superiority.
Okay.
That was kind of bait. So my thought process was then like, damn, you know, just tying it into some laws later on, like, damn, if I create this character and, you know, see what's going on, I got a lot of business going on and making myself seem busy and flamboyant and extravagant, people are going to want to come see what's going on.
A natural gravity.
Gravitate, because that's why they call it stars, because people have a gravitate. Mm-hmm. You know, people gravitate toward these stars.
I think about that all the time. It's like, that's why they call them stars, right?
Right.
People looking like that's what
they look at it and they gravitate toward it. You have a gravitational pull towards it. Mm-hmm. So that was my thing back then, becoming a star, or at least a neighborhood star. And the bait was using cars and jewelry and
And
the perceived image of money. Now it morphed into, more of make people come to you with my positivity, the charity, the heart chakra. And word will spread organically, so I'm non-flashing. As you can see, I don't even, I have no tattoos. I've never changed. That's a lot of people, why you ain't never fixed the teeth? I don't have anything. I don't even wear gold. I have no tattoos, never altered the body whatsoever. Never had any surgeries or anything like that. So that's kind of how I roll. So
it's important though too, because like what you're saying is how you changed it. It's like the diamond in the rough. Now you're shining so bright as a diamond.
Right.
As a natural positive gravitational pull towards you.
Right. So again, like I said, once you do that, and once you get the organic, the grassroots approach about outside of yourself and getting into that Christ consciousness, that seventh chakra, going past the heart chakra and getting into that seventh chakra, then you're going to start seeing make people come to you as far as your products. Fall in love with stuff that you have and fall in love with the message and stuff like that.
With our podcast.
Right. With the message, the podcast, so on and so forth. So, I don't take that diabolical at all. I don't take 8 diabolical, use bait and try to trap people. No, I think of it more in a positive sense.
Yeah, I use the positive way of doing this too. Like you treat people with kindness, and you try to, if you're going to use bait or manipulation is what it really is. Like you never want to do it for ill intent. Usually if you're going to be trying to help someone, like you said, the charity. Like if someone's going through a bad time and you know how to fix it, usually their ego won't let you help them directly. So you have to kind of do some side steps, and that's a way for them to be able to help their lives, is using that bait in that way.
Well, the thing is, we, especially as generations go on, we have a rough time expressing love. So people will love you from a distance, indirectly. That's hence the products that I like to create. It's hard for people to tell me they love me in front of my face, but they'll love my books, they'll love my message, they'll love what I say. So that's why we're doing a podcast. Yeah. That's why so you don't have to be tongue-cheek. This is like video, subscribe, and stuff like that. You can love, you don't have to love me from right there. You can love me from a distance. That's how kind of people want to do.
Yeah, I always get surprised when someone comes up and says, "Man, I love you." I'm like,
right.
I'm like, well, that's a shock. You don't see it every day, right?
Right. So, again, we're not going to keep you too long, people. Subscribe to videos. We're going to probably try to have this 48 Laws of Power series done by the end of the month. So again, we want to go ahead and leave you with the thought, again, God is a verb. Personal responsibility is your only savior. Go to my website, hocmortgage.com. A lot of people apply for mortgages right now. If you want to have me speak or mentor, go to my website, billionaireloanofficer.com. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, so on and so forth. Follow the program. Yeah. Listen to us on Apple. We're going to be everywhere. Merch is coming soon. So
get the podcast on Apple Music and just put it in when you're working out.
Right.
And enjoy.
Right. And with that, we're going to say peace.
Yeah, peace.